Dominating performance from Aware here, but we still have more exceL action to close out the day. We've got a new addition to the desk. Homie was he was always out there, but now we've got Squeaky G, the coach for Arrival. Why don't you talk about kind of what you do with the team?
It's more really of a relationship in side of it, so it's more keeping them in the right direction.
Making sure they don't hate each other.
Yeah,
which is actually very important, surprisingly enough.
Coach/therapist.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's also like if they're trolling in scrims or keeping them just keep them focused in the right direction. So
lay down the law.
Very important.
Yeah.
I think it's very important as well because obviously you guys dominated your region. It wasn't even close. But you also, because of that, you don't really have that competition to push you higher. So I think keeping people in line is always important. I think Raffer talks about, like Raffer for energy with like Emilito, stop trolling. Just stop. Just play legit.
Please, ML, please.
But we have a matchup here. Eager going to be taking on exceL. Eager, obviously, a team that's been at the top of North America for quite some time. If they're not first, they're second. There's really no outside of top 2 Eager squad.
Right, they've been there forever, but recent memory has had them in second place, like you mentioned. It was really them in first place throughout the majority of Season 2 and all that sort of stuff, but with the emergence, really, of Allegiance and Cloud's team, you know, really taking off and doing really well during the summer split, finishing first there during the online, or during the LAN stages. Eager needs to kind of reassert their dominance. I feel like they really want to prove that they are still the best team in North America, and this is one of their chances to do it.
And exceL has taken a turn for the worse. You know, heading into the summer, they were under, I believe, the Retribution flag. #1 in the online portions, weren't really able to perform at LAN, but after that, you guys actually stole Watson away from them. Proxy got kicked, and they just haven't been the same.
I mean, it's more of a, they haven't found their core yet, so they haven't really been able to push anything. So they're still finding what's good and bad about their team, I think. I'm not really sure, but that's just a guess. But
I mean, it's really hard. Like when you're on the bottom, there's so many things
wrong.
You have to fix, right? It's not just one thing when you're that low in the standings. They did have to fight through the gauntlet to make it here as a third-seeded EU team. Do you have any expectations for exceL at all here in this matchup? You could be honest. Don't worry.
It's hard to say.
You don't have to be mean about it. Just be honest.
I don't see them winning a game this entire LAN.
Yeah.
But I think if there's something to happen, they can do it. I think there's still a potential
to take a game. Yeah, that's always important.
Yeah, I'm not particularly high on this roster, especially with the sort of unfortunate circumstances where they have a couple subs playing here. Not everyone was able to make it, so it's going to be difficult for them going forward. But they still have their mid laner, Elexum. He's been a big part of what they were able to do during the last split. That he was a big part of why they were a top seed, and he's still here. He's going to have to do a lot for them.
Yeah, I've been able to get to know Elexum a little bit closer as of late, and honestly, he's such a phenomenal person, great player as well, so we're going to see what he's going to be able to do. But he is up against Eager, unfortunately, so they're going to head straight into the thick of it. One person I want to talk about is kind of the team captain, Aircougar, who really started this roster so long ago, and he's been the spearhead for keeping them in that top 2 spot.
I mean, Cougs has been here since the beginning of Console Smite. I mean, he's always been there, and it's always been his team near the top, like you mentioned. And after Season 2, they make some changes. They bring in some former PC SPL players, Unrelinquished and Mytheria, now Delta Marine 72, and Myflin, because of course they are. And they've looked very, very strong. Those two are still standouts. Delta Marine, to me, definitely in the conversation for best mid laner on console now. So this roster as a whole just works together very, very well. They've stuck together since the beginning of Season 3. Couple adjustments. Yeah, Myflin moving from the jungle to Guardian, switching around with Jellly, who's now their jungler after the summer split. But overall, it's these 5 dudes playing Smite together.
And honestly, for Eager, for me, it's not really, hey, they're all the best players. I feel like a lot of it is about consistency. None of them ever play at a low level. Sure, every once in a while, Myflin's going to have a great game, Cougar will have a great game, but it's really just about kind of playing at that standard level they've set for themselves.
So, I mean, going back to Cougar, he's been even at the top even from when he was on PC, before the Xbox scene even came out, and I think that's the same with most of the players on that squad. So they know what they're doing, which is always a bonus. Yeah,
they've just been around, right? And I think Cougar's experience has really paid off. You know, he did compete in the SPL for a very small amount of time back in Season 1, but he's been around forever here, and he's trying to lead his team to victory.
say Aircougar's like the face of exceL, I guess. He's like the big name hunter, but I don't think I'll have too much trouble with him. I think it'll be pretty easy.
Aircougar is our ADC and captain. I think he's a great captain, and I think he's going to really help us win tomorrow.
Aircougar is probably the most emotional person in the Smite scene for Xbox, at least. Whether it's winning and he's hyped and talking trash, or he's losing and pouting and talking trash to his own team. Either way, he's definitely a cool guy at a game, and I enjoy being around him.
Aircougar, great ADC, but ever since Jellly has moved to jungle, there seems to be less synergy throughout the team throughout that, due to that.
Well, he's my laning partner, so I trust him, I believe in him, and I know he can solo any of the other ADCs, especially Trance.
Aircougar in lane is really good. Him and Myflin have a very strong duo lane, early lane, like laning phase. And I know Aircougar won't hesitate to take a solo kill if he can get one.
Young man T-Cougs. Young man T-Cougs. Tristan, he's been around as long as I have. He's played as many roles as I've had. He's had various nicknames, you know, the Cougs, Aircougar, Astro, Soup Kitchen. You know how it is. I think Wolfie deemed him Soup Kitchen. That was pretty good. Now he's just like a trademark of our team. It wouldn't be Eager without Aircougar. He's the secondary shot caller, and he does his job well.
I think he shed the Soup Kitchen namesake. Before, yeah, probably in some ranked games, he's probably been feeding everyone, you know, giving them all their helpings.
He's a nice guy. He's a good dude.
He really is. But I mean, he's again led this team and a lot of good things that people have been talking about. Even your Hunter, some good things, but he's like, I'm gonna beat him.
Yeah,
of course.
I'd say he's a very confident player, our Hunter. He's always looking aggressive. He's always looking to get that kill. So I think that's to our Hunter atonement. So I think when we get the chance to go against them, that's going to be a very interesting match because they're both the same. Get pressure in lane, try and 1v1 each other, look for the solo kill.
Talk to me about confidence, because that is very important, especially at LAN. There's a lot of people who are comfortable at home and maybe think they're confident, but they come to LAN and it's a different environment.
Yeah, well, confidence, obviously, you're not going to go into a LAN expecting to lose. So if you don't have that confidence, then you're not going to win. So, but with that, you are... I mean, confidence is, if you don't have it, you're not going to show what you can do. It's your potential.
Well, we're seeing a confident man on our screen right now, Elexum. He's been around, obviously really was able to compete at a high level before, but now he's on this bottom team of exceL, and he's going to have a lot to prove heading into today.
He sure will. I mean, Elexum's always had his own sort of style of mid lane. He likes to go tanky with Zeus. You know, he'll build that early Warlock sash.
Please stop.
Of course he did. Of course he did. That's the kind of guy Elexum is.
It's the esports thing now.
Yeah, I guess so. If you say so, Kevin. I don't know if I agree with that, but you know, he likes his Isis. He likes his Zeus. He likes the Warlock sash. That's just the way he plays it, and he's gonna have his work cut out for him. I don't know if he's gonna be able to build tanky here up against Eager. He's going to need to do a lot of damage. He's going to have a lot on his shoulders as far as damage goes, and if you're building tanky, you're not going to do as much damage.
And Delta Marine on the other side of this mid lane, you talked about it, you know, up there for best mid laner on console. I think that's you trying to say I was the best before, so maybe he is it now. Was that it?
It was, you know, obviously, like Squeaky was saying, confidence is important. I was confident in my own play, but I always had a ton of respect going up against Delta Marine. You have to play differently against different styles of opponents, and Delta was always the guy who I had to think the most about my positioning, because I knew that if I took one step the wrong direction, I was going to get eaten alive by his mage abilities. So I've got a lot of respect for the way he plays. And for me, I mean, just after that last set, Baronic, he had a great online stage. I was curious to see how he was going to do coming to LAN, and he solidified himself as one of the top mids on console in North America right now.
You guys, I'm assuming, have done a little bit of research on Delta Marine. What are your thoughts on this player, Squeaky?
I mean, he tends to pick the gods that can be dove but can also outplay, so like Zeus, Vulcan, Sol. So when it comes to that, it's more, it shows he's confident with his positioning. So when he's like that, he's not really a focus.
And that's the big thing for me, is positioning. His positioning is always very, very strong. In fact, his own team kind of makes fun of him for being, you know, not close enough to follow up sometimes, but he's always very, very safe in his positioning.
And yeah, I mean, this team of Eager has just been really good as a unit. Like that's the best way to describe it. Is I feel like they're always safe. I feel like Eager's not ever going to do anything too crazy that's a little bit risky. They're never going to pick these compositions. Maybe every once in a while they will.
If it is going to be someone doing weird, something weird, it's going to be Myflin or Jellly. Those are the two dudes who are going to be aggressive if they're given the opportunity. They're the ones who are going to overstep their bounds. Cougar can do it from time to time when he's looking for a 1v1. Sometimes he'll push up a little bit too far, but as a whole, usually Dwurst and Delta Marine are a little bit more careful with their positioning. Though though Myflin and Dwurst do sometimes get into contests to who can dive farther into the enemy backline.
It's, up there with Chapo, right?
Well, no one is up there with Chapo when it comes to that stuff, dude. No one.
What do you think exceL has to do here up against Eager to come out with this win?
I think they're going to have to put the jungle and support out of their place. So obviously they're still transitioning into their role.
Yep.
So they're going to be the least confident people. So I've even seen it when we've been doing some research. Dwurst is tending to play the actual support role. He's playing the Guardians, the Warriors, he's helping his team. So with that, they can look at that maybe to shut Dwurst down, focus him.
And that makes sense because Myflin is a jungler. You know, he was a jungler on PC, he's a jungler here, and he was at least, and then he moved over to the Guardian role, allowing Jellly to pick up that jungle position. So kind of like we saw Dinosaur in the last set with Cyclone, Myflin kind of does like to play this jungler 2.0 role. He's not going to build the Death Toll Ninja Tabi that Dinosaur was doing, but he likes characters like Xing Chen and things that can really be annoying and deal that damage that he wants to deal out of the support role.
Yeah, I talked about how they like to play safe and consistent. You're right. Myflin is the guy who's just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to pick Xing Chen here, and you're not going to do anything about it. And watch me. Just watch me disrupt. Because that's one of the things, too. I mean, you know, gods like Xing Chen and stuff, you don't really get a lot of practice against them. They're not in the meta. And bringing out those kind of unique picks it's hard for other teams to adapt to them quickly.
Yeah, so, like, pocket picks are really things people look to do at LAN. So when that does happen, it's more trying to catch someone at their comfort zone.
Yeah, it can be difficult to kind of balance that aggressiveness with that support mentality, and that's something that Myflin's still trying to do, as well as Atlas Joeeey here for exceL. I mean, he's the support player for them, still trying to fit into that role like Squeaky said. How well is he going to be able to work with Elexum in that mid lane, with his Hunter in the duo lane? How are they going to be able to combat the the tenure that Eager has as a whole? All of them in their positions are, you know, very established, very well respected. And then you've got these guys, exceL, who are coming out of the gauntlet in Europe who have to fight into that.
I mean, talking about this, I think we're all on the same page. Eager is expected to win this. And I'm talking like 98% to 2 over exceL, who have just had so many issues trying to bounce back ever since Watson was left for, Rival. And obviously, Proxy was kicked. Unfortunately, he actually didn't synergize well with the team. I was able to talk to Elexum about that. It's like, it just wasn't really working communication-wise. But, you know, you did kick your most experienced player who, again, even if you're not gelling with him, he brings so much to your team. Very similar to Aware with Chaotic Purpose.
Exactly. It's always a trade-off. It's, yeah, we may not get along the best, or the communication might not be there, or there's this or there's that, but do we need this guy just to do the damage, to be in the right spot at the right time? I mean, Proxy was a guy who was around forever, and there was a definite drop-off whenever he left the team, as well as, I mean, losing Watson, who was the premier solo laner in Europe at the time. I mean, losing him definitely was a big blow to exceL.
Well, he was, like, as you said, the premier solo lane, maybe even in the world for console. Like, he was taking,
I think so.
Yeah,
I agree.
He was killing wolves in lane. He was doing what he wanted, essentially carrying the team. So losing them 2 core players, and as you said, going back to Proxy, he had the experience, he had the shot calling, he was their shot caller at the time. He just knew how to lead the team. It was more, he was the core, and with Watson.
Yeah, he was honestly who they kind of centered around. Yeah, they played through Watson, but it was Proxy dictating how they did that, when they did that, why they did that, and now they don't have those 2 experienced players that are able to bring them that. Actually, that's interesting. Does Watson know what he's doing? This is a serious question, because I've met a lot of really talented players that just kind of do stuff based on what others are telling them. Is Watson leading the charge for you guys, or is he just like playing off of whatever Rapio's saying?
He does play off of what Zemborn and Rapio say, but he does know what he's doing.
I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean, like, there's a lot of people who are just like really good at pressing buttons.
He does try. Like, he will say, look, can we do this? Can we force this? Like, can we do this? And it's more of a yes or no from the hierarchy.
The balance.
So there's two different styles of talkers in a competitive setting, right? You've got your main shot callers. You've got your do this, do this, do this. When I say
Pain Deviant.
Exactly. Pain, Chapo, guys like that. And then you've got your information givers, and that's what mid laners usually are. You're just giving as much information as you can. Sometimes you'll be suggesting things like, hey, you know, I've got enough damage to secure a Gold Fury right now. Can we do that? And then you're just giving that information to your final say guy, your judge, basically, who makes the ruling and says, yes, we're doing Gold Fury, or no, we're not.
The judge, Joeeey, and in Chapo's case, the executioner. But
yes,
we do have
very
a game.
Fitting.
Again, guys, I mean, this is all Eager. We're expecting to come out on top of this, but you never know what's going to happen. The bans have come through. We see the Odin ban, which tells you know, a lot of story about, you know, looking for that raw pick. exceL ban Guan Yu. Eager have also banned Terra, and then there's the Raw. They have the main primary sustain, the only one really left.
That very surprising to see exceL ban away Guan Yu in that scenario. Usually when you realize that you've kind of been backed into a corner, and if you ban one, you give up the other, you just leave both open.
Yeah.
At least give yourself something on that return end. Now, exceL don't really have that priority pick here.
I think the reason for that, though, is because they look like they've been doing their research. Myflin's played Guan a lot,
Yes.
and even Dwurst himself, and then, as I said, that's going back into that support role that Dwurst plays.
Yeah.
They contest each other. So taking that out completely, really, they might not have seen Ra play or be played by Dutrum. You know, expecting Sol, the Vulcan, Zeus. So
yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of Raw, but I mean, even going back to the SPL lands, people just started playing.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, he's good. And now
it
it seems like it's kind of the same thing in console, where people, you know, okay, let's play around with Raw. Okay, first pick at LAN, Neith, Ratatoskr. Okay, well, we have the double globals. And then we have an Anubis.
Okay.
We're not even gonna look at Eager's
I'm literally almost as surprised about the Khepri pick as I am about this Anubis pick. Khepri is like not Myflin. That is nothing about that says Myflin to me. He doesn't even want to save his teammates.
Khepri
he would
solo
much rather kill you
for support
than save his teammates. Right. This could be Jellly running Khepri jungle right now, and I wouldn't be that surprised. But Elexum on this Anubis. I mean, you know, you talked about confidence, Squeaky. I'm guessing that this is Elexum just saying, like, what the hell? We might as well try it.
Well, I think the Khepri, going back to the Khepri pick, I think they just want to try and out-pressure the Neith. Like, the Neith obviously is a high-pressure duo lane ADC, so they're trying to not give up their jungle. If they're going for, like, a Freya support, possibly, or support, Hunter, sorry.
Freya support?
Yeah.
We have an Anubis, who knows, right now.
So they're obviously trying to still have that pressure versus the Neith.
So, funny story, if I'm recalling this correctly. Outside of any like troll games where stuff has already been decided, we have only seen 2 instances of Anubis in the past 2.5, 3 years. First was Knight at the first SWC. Second was Mace to the face, I think in Season 2 played it to counter Chaos's Hades mid. Because obviously Hades locks himself in place and it's a great counter. Those are the only instances I can think of in competitive non-trolling games that it's been brought out. I
mean, Knight for China, I think he pulled it out as well at DreamHack, if I'm not mistaken, whenever China was at DreamHack. So, yeah, that's really the only guy.
But that's the thing, right? It's like, it's so hard to think of because this is never seen here. Eager has finished their lineup, though. It's going to be Vamana and Anhur. Squeaky, what are your thoughts on this composition they've drafted?
It's just high pressure everywhere. So pressure in mid from Thor, pressure in duo, and her Khepri, they're looking to get a kill, most likely, and Vamana's just such a safe laner, he can do what he wants, essentially. They're not giving up any pressure at all. And
then Chaac for exceL here. What are you thinking?
This Anubis is this poor man. That's all. Poor Elexum, dude. Dwurst just going to become Big Baby and stomp him into the ground. Anhur's going to throw up the pillar, and he's just going to get eaten alive by Aircougar. This is going to be tough.
Okay. They've picked the best possible peel for him. The single target from Fafnir stun on a long cooldown.
An AoE slow from Chaac.
An AoE slow from Chaac, and a silence that takes a little bit of wind up.
All Chaac has to do is build Runeforge, and then they'll all take extra damage from Anubis, and they'll just kill them all.
This is great. Final thoughts, Squeaky. Just tell me you're going for Eager.
Yeah,
you're going for Eager. All right, aggro.
Yeah, Eager.
I'm going to go with Eager here, but I really hope we see Anubis make some hot plays here. We do have casters standing by there. Tolly and Tiger, take it away. Have fun with this one, guys.
Thanks, Adonis. I definitely will. Anubis is one of my favorites, and Adonis, the encyclopedia over there, spitting out every instance we've seen him in actual competitive play.
You can't forget, though. He did forget backflip slow to
That's
help
true,
Anubis.
yes.
There's always the very reliable and safe peel of the slow coming from the backflip. So yet again, exceL, they're not playing with their full roster right now, you know, from their online phase, but I like the fact that they're not willing to be afraid to try something new because they're obviously very stacked up against a very heavy seasoned veteran team out of Eager. So you definitely want to pull something janky coming out.
And that definitely can work in their advantage. They're not practicing against Anubis. They're not practicing against these crazy picks, and they haven't practiced against these players, so you don't know what strats are coming out as well.
You just want to make sure that you start off the first game of your set with a bang, and if exceL can get off to this early game start, surprising Eager, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some kind of momentum moving forward, trying to go for, you know, some early goal fears, because Anubis, he has a lot of damage to be able to secure objectives, especially if he goes for a glass cannon build. But up against Raw, starting off with a tiny trinket, it could be potentially a divine ruin with that damage over time.
He's still kind of already a glass cannon, though, in the fact that he's made of glass. He's not going to be able to get away if somebody tries to aggress on him. Anubis, the biggest fault he has is no mobility. If you can hit a nice wrap, that's going to save you a couple of seconds, but if the whole team of Eager is barreling down the lane, you're going to go. You're going to die.
Absolutely, but if he does build into a little bit of more lifesteal, he could potentially survive the initial burst coming out of Jellly, but immediately we're going to see an invade out of Auzrik, trying to find that speed buff invade, but the Wrath out of Jellly will confirm his own speed, so unfortunate set of circumstances for exceL. Not getting off to the start, but they're doing a double invade.
On the other side, yeah, but Joeeey may fall here because of it. Myflin going to be able to find him, and now Killy in a bad spot as well. Chaac barely able to get away, and now Jellly, it's just all right, Killy.
So immediately right off the bat, it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the solo lane. A really nice Wrath stun coming out of Auzrik, preventing the Thor from finding the initial kill with the speed buff, being able to catch up to Killy. But overall, a great performance in the 1-for-1, because now you strip away the speed buff from the Thor. So this gives a little bit of flexibility for exceL now to be able to go get their own speed buff safely, not having to worry about Jelly's invade.
That still wasn't an even trade coming out for exceL. What is that going to mean for the one failed invade coming out from Auzrik? Is he going to be a little behind?
He's going to be struggling very greatly now, but Elexum immediately doing a little bit of a return poke with the raw sustain should be topping off Jellly. So overall, the 2-for-1 in Eager's favor, but now immediately jumping Aircougar, trying to find the enhance, but a nice body block from Joeeey. He needs to find one more enhance, but that Zot is good enough.
Devil going to die to Myflin, and that's the second kill for the Khepri coming through, but now Jellly spinning to win and trying to get away, trying to avoid the damage. A nice teleport going to get him out, but Elexum still in a very rough spot.
He's trying to find the right jukes, but the stun coming out of Auzrik, not good enough to really save his partner. The heal coming out of Delta Marine, unfortunately, was used offensively, so as a result, Jellly had to peel back, and Eager already into a great start, 4-1.
So what we saw earlier was RedDevil trying to save that peel for Anubis. That's why he didn't backflip earlier on.
And just trying to make sure that they're able to survive in any sort of instance. So now Eager immediately on the aggressive side. We saw Aircougar jumping into the boards. He has no fear against the squad of exceL, taking a commanding 2,000 gold lead at the 2-minute mark. At this rate, we're going to see Eager start going for some very early high-end objectives.
We've seen Eager play from behind before, and normally they're able to pull the game back in their favor by keeping their heads level. They're very experienced players. But right now, playing from this far ahead this early on, we're only 2 minutes and 22 seconds in. 4-1, read the kills.
And now Auzrik securing his own speed up, but he's a little low. Nice little juke from Jellly, preventing the stun coming out of Elexum. But with the rotation from Dwurst's Vamana, this should be a 5th kill. Gonna force out at least a purification. Nice little jukes from Elexum, keeping himself alive, but the control in the solo side definitely belonging to Eager, despite not getting that speed buff invade. They could look for the blue buff on the Vamana.
The biggest thing you mentioned was the use of that purification. That's going to be down, so now Elexum is even more of a sitting duck than previously. He had the nice jukes, he was able to get away from that damage, but now I want to see more rotations coming in towards the mid to take down that Anubis, stop him before he's even able to get anything done. Like right now, the snipe coming through, and Delta Marine gonna absolutely eradicate him.
Fancy schmancy Delta Marine on the raw, finding the snipe for the 5th kill for Eager, and Dwurst was successfully able to invade that blue buff onto Coach Killy. Now granted, Chaac doesn't really need that blue buff to stay relevant in the laning laning phase because of his passive. If he has all 5 stacks, his next ability is free. But this takes away the gold and experience from Coach Killy, which allows Dwurst to separate the gap even further.
Yeah, but what's going on with this matchup? We're looking at Coach Killy on this Chaac, and Vamana, who we've seen a giant resurgence of. What's going on with him? Hold on, nice gank coming through. Killy gonna get stuck between the wall, able to teleport out, but there he goes. Myflin getting credit for again. He's just stacking up these kills.
Unfortunately for Coach Killy, he's in a position where he has to try to throw out those safe axes from a distance just to be able to clear, despite Dwurst being low. But look at this, immediately with no hesitation, exceL, they know that they have the burst damage with this Anubis, with the Wrath, and immediately getting a very early Gold Fury at 3 minutes, close to 4. But the thing is, at this point, it's not that much gold to really ride off of, so they're going to need at least 1 or 2 more to get back into this game.
You're putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. You're helping for a little bit, but at this point, you need a lot more to help stop that bleeding, and RedDevil bleeding a lot as Cougar continues to find these auto attacks and take the life of the Neith.
Just unfortunately in the wrong position at the wrong time. Anhur's very good at boxing, being offensive and defensive with his whole kit. Nothing really for the Neith to do there, so now that's going to allow Aircougar to be so aggressive. He has this 2-level lead on the Anhur, and that's what you really want to do. Exploit the fact that this Neith went for this early Transcendence build, not having the mobility with the Warrior type instead.
Myflin looking very confident here in mid lane, throwing out the damage over time. Once again, the Sun pulling on Elexum, but the rest of the team of exceL is going to be here, starting to dish out the damage, and Myflin going to ult himself, and now exceL don't want to hit that last attack.
No, not at all, but it's going to be a bait. A nice triple stun from Jellly with a snipe from Delta Marine killing him, and a solo kill by Dwurst onto Coach Killy, just separating that gap yet again in both side lanes for Eager, doing a great job. 9-1, Eager controlling the pace of the game, 2,500 up despite the sneaky Gold Fury by exceL.
And that's a great turn of events because every time we go over to the solo, we're seeing Dwurst have issues. In order to kill Killy, they need to have somebody come over and help with the gank, and now we're going to see Killy fall. Dwurst trying to turn this back in his favor with the rest of the team.
It's going to be difficult for Killy to come back into this because now Dwurst, level 8 on this Vamana, is going to be able to finish off that Breastplate of Valor first. Eager trying to do the Gold Fury. They're looking at like, where did it go? Well, exceL was able to sneak that earlier, but now another nice little gank onto Elexum. The stun, not going to be enough though. 10th kill goes on the board, but they're not done yet. They're going to try to go for Joeeey, going to force out the ultimate.
Yep, with that ultimate, you're not going to take the damage as you're transforming into the dragon, and now Joeeey just has to put on the juke shoes and hope that Eager don't decide to jump in when Joeeey turns back into the door.
A little bit too ambitious is Eager trying to tank the tower at this point. It's only a level 7 Khepri, doesn't have too much physical defense online, only tier 2, but because of that kill onto the Anubis, this allows the control necessary for Eager to get this tower in the mid lane.
6 minutes, 12 seconds, and the novelty's wearing off. What can exceL do with this strange team comp they've drafted?
At this point in time, it's all about warding defensively, recognizing where Eager's putting their eggs in the basket, if it's going to be in the solo side, the duo side. Try not to take these 1v1 fights, because obviously Aircougar and Dwurst have a significant advantage in the silence, and now Eager are going to start grouping up and looking for the ganks together.
And Veladon coming down, and now Killy going to get pulled once again into the Ra, and into the Ra again. Delta Marine continuing to help himself get fed.
And at this point in time, with the Gold Fury being down for so long, it's very easy for Eager to start grouping up and look for these ganks with Thor having that semi-global pressure, as well as the long artillery setup coming out of Delta Marine, not afraid to keep in position. But now Myflin's going to be the focus, but his ultimate will get him out of trouble for now, but the double tap coming up, Jellly's going to be able to return this one probably.
Elexum able to find that kill, and now Jellly running away. It's one versus 2 in the mid lane. We're going to have the Ratatoskr head off to the right side. These fire imps are up, and they're still highly contestable, but Delta Marine going to be able to eat through them very quickly.
No problem, but there's going to be a huge problem for RedDevil. He's going to backflip into trouble as Aircougar is able to clean that one up. Elexum gets cleaned up in mid lane. Jellly doing a good job preventing the knockup with his Berserker barrage, and now Delta Marine, he's going to be able to chase this down. Joeeey doesn't have his escape, and Dwurst is here to look for the cleanup.
Joeeey just running around, putting on the juke shoes, but now that he's stuck in the middle, he's stuck in that heal, forcing out the dragon, but Delta Marine going to be able to tame him down just as quickly as it came out.
Well-timed use of his first ability, just to be able to time it as the Fafnir comes out of his dragon form, because you do have those immunity frames for about 1.5 seconds or so, so very well-timed patient, and immediately off of Aircougar's second solo kill in the duel lane, credited succeeded with a tier 1 duo tower, extending the lead to 5,000 for Eager.
8 minutes in, we're seeing Elexum get testy once again, but Myflin was the target there, not going to be able to shred through. We're 8 minutes and 15 seconds in, 14-12. Eager looking very strong against exceL. Dwurst forced to use his ultimate. The big baby's going to continue stomping, and Killy be able to heal himself back up and push the pot, but Jellly crashes in and able to find the kill.
15th kill for Eager. They're able to extend it a little bit further. Aircougar's really feeling himself, jumping into 2, but there is a third one behind him, able to stun Elexum and using that Desert Fury. And that's the one issue that Anubis has with his ultimate, but a nice little ultimate coming out of RedDevil, trying to peel for Joeeey, but the rest of Eager is here. The snipe is good, and that's going to be even a double kill as RedDevil gets taken out as well.
Team Eager on point, especially Delta Marine. I said it the entire split. Whenever I would cast Eager, they have 2 strats: objective control and feed Delta Marine. Look at what's happening here. They're doing such a good job against exceL, who granted are having a rough time considering they weren't able to come here with their original roster, but still trying to put up a fight with, you know, the surprise element.
Yeah, they definitely tried to pull a page out of, you know, the surprise element, as you said, for Eager though. But they, like we mentioned before, a nice little 4-man ultimate is going to steal the gold here with the Wrath, but Coach Killy's in an awkward position. He's going to have to sacrifice his life for it, so a little bit more of a stall tactic for exceL more than anything else, being able to secure the 2nd gold here of the game. But now Elexum is in a little bit of trouble now as the rest of Eager is trying to find the chase.
Elexum stuck running away every time instead of trying to face them and throw out any abilities. Delta going to be able to take out Elexum once again, and Eager going to rotate to mid to take down this last tier 2 in the mid.
And this is where Eager knows, like, okay, we're in this winning position. We're just going to start grouping up and getting all these towers. The Gold Fury, sure, you could take one away from us. You can be able to steal one away from us as well, but there's no way you're going to start winning against us in these team fights. We have the raw sustain, we have the Khepri damage mitigation, we have the Khepri revive, we also have the burst damage because of all our level advantages, so we're just going to start knocking down all your towers. Already 4 out of 6 is gone. Mid tier 2 falls as well. Only 1 more tower remaining for exceL.
Glass half full though. If exceL are able to turn this around, there's so much gold on the map that they're still able to take in the form of Eager's towers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what Eager wants to actually maybe bait out even. If that's going to be able to overextend exceL in one spot or another, they can easily find the cleanup kill. And this could be a point in time where Eager could be looking for that early Fire Giant objective. But look at this. exceL are grouped up and they're going to find the Sentry Ward counter. Dwurst is here though. He spots it out. He could potentially look for the chase. He's going to stick onto Coach Killy.
The fact that Fire Giant was even looked at is terrifying. Dwurst forced into the big baby to try to avoid getting completely annihilated by Elexum. Aircougar going to find the nice pin and take him out in the process. Dwurst takes out Joeeey, and now anybody that overstepped their boundaries with exceL lost their lives.
2 clean kills yet again from Eager, utilizing that raw sustain just to be able to continue being rewarded with an objective on the Fire Giant. 4 members from Eager here. We do see Myflin zoning really far out there with the Khepri, but Auzrik is here. A nice little wall from Jellly. Has to try to make sure that Wrath is not in contention.
Auzrik has the Wrath, but not able to get close enough to try and take it out. Instead, Auzrik going to fall for his folly.
And look how far away Myflin is at the tier 2 tower line by himself. He's a level 11 Khepri, 2 levels ahead of exceL's mid laners. Never a good thing when the enemy support is either on the same level or even above your mid laners. And now immediately after the tower,
on the pillar.
Another clean pick for Eager. They're going to try to go for their first Phoenix of the game at the 12-minute mark. This might be a record.
We saw a 10-minute Fire Giant. You're talking about a 12-minute Phoenix? A 10-minute Fire Giant. It just came up.
And this is really important for Eager to get off to a great start in this group because they also have Sword and Rival to worry about. Those 2 teams are definitely very seasoned and very experienced in their sense. And I feel like Eager, they have to be careful about what they reveal in the next game for picks and bans.
What can exceL do? Like, what can they bring to the next game? Any kind of pocket strats, or is this kind of it as we see Jellly go through 2 members of exceL with ease?
For game number 2 exceL, they really need to figure out a way just to not allow Eager to get any sort of momentum, not look for any sort of 1v1 trades, make sure that they start warding around in the beginning of the game, spotting any sort of shenanigans coming out of Eager, and they want to try to get to the farm game. Pick gods that'll allow you to just out-carry Eager in the late game. As long as they survive the early game, they could maybe find those objectives cleaner.
Joeeey jumping out, but not able to jump away from Aircougar's Desert Fury as it comes through the wall. There it is. Titan going to be aggressed upon. We're looking at a very quick 13-minute game as the kills still continue to rack up. That's going to be a double coming through, but the Titan cannot handle much more pain, much more onslaught.
I've seen some early surrenders in my day, but I've yet to see a 13-minute game be concluded with a Titan falling at this point. Eager looking so strong as they take out exceL in game number 1.
Looking very strong. Eager, I mean, just push the limits. They brought the...
You can say that they forced the issue.
Forced the issue, all right. You've had your meme spotlight. You got to put it to rest, buddy.
I get one. Everyone gets one. So that's exactly what happened. Eager was just being able to be a big bully. We saw exceL trying to adapt to their shenanigan strategies where, you know, they got the Anubis. They're trying to look for the burst play, trying to look for those sneaky Gold Furies. They did manage to sneak one, managed to also be able to steal away a Gold Fury from Eager. But unfortunately, once Eager realized, okay, we can't really secure Gold Furies, unfortunately, against exceL. They're doing good in that department. Let's just start grouping up. Let's utilize our Ra and Khepri and win these team fights.
All right, well, let's see what the analysts have to say. Popping it over to you guys. Hey, Adonis.
So we had a 13-minute game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the 98% to 2%, probably not accurate, more like 99 to 1 or 100 to 0 there. Complete domination. Let's actually kind of discuss this a little bit. Eager started off strong. Obviously, you talked about the pressure, and we saw it in every single lane.
I mean, you got the kill in dual lane, there was a kill in solo, was there a kill in mid?
Probably.
Yeah, an early kill in mid as
Probably.
well.
Somewhere along the line.
There was kills everywhere at the start of that game. And I mean, I think for me, the one player that was just on point, Delta Marine, I still remember it was very early in the game. I mean, I shouldn't forget it was 10 minutes ago. Very early in the game, Myflin ults himself, like 1 HP. He's pushed up to the tower 1 versus 3, and then he backs off, and they all just group and are like, come on, man, he got away. All of a sudden, Thor dunk, raw snipe.
Yeah, the Jellly hit a 3-man dunk, but I mean, we gotta give shout-outs to Myflin. He gets the first blood on Khepri. He was huge the whole game. Okay, but that was hot.
That was hot.
The double snipe, that was pretty hot.
That was amazing. I mean, there's really nothing to analyze here. I mean, this was clearly an outclassed team. Pressure began from the beginning, and then, you know, sometimes you could see these games go on a little bit longer, but with that raw, it means Eager never has to back. And then they've got, you know, a 2.5 item lead almost at, you know, very early on in the game. They never have to back. They already have the damage. They're just able to push forward and find those Phoenixes.
Just do what they want.